That's good, yeah. Hey guys, welcome back to StabilityWOD. Back with James again, who's been shirtless now for 3 days. He's a very strong back squatter. He's got like a 300-pound back squat. Doesn't necessarily mean that he's a stable back squatter. So he can move a lot of weight, and he might even look pretty good doing it. But if he's not stable in his spine, he could still have problems, especially as the weight gets high or as the reps get high and he starts to get tired. So we're going to talk today about how this looks under a sort of a light to moderate load. This is 135 pounds that we have on the bar. It's kind of a warm-up set for James, but I think what he's going to find is that if he's really intentional about using the right muscles, it actually feels quite challenging. And this is a great time to be able to practice technique and intention and form so that when you get back to your 300-pound 1-rep back squat, you already have that pattern in. It's a little more automatic, and it actually eventually gets to the point where it feels kind of bad if you do it wrong. You can really feel the difference between right and wrong, stability versus not stability. So why don't you do a few reps for us, and I'm going to talk you through the cueing. He's going to come up, he's going to have a little bit of ab tension, a little bit of pelvic floor tension just to unrack the bar. He's going to step back, but then he's really going to check in. He's going to say, I need my pelvic floor engaged. That's the floor of the cylinder. I'm going to fire my multifidus a little bit. I'm going to get my transverse abdominis engaged as part of my pelvic floor being engaged. I lock down my ribs, so I have tension. I take my big breath, and then I initiate my rep. And I have to, like we said yesterday, you have to want it. He's going to have to work to maintain that tension around his core cylinder through the whole entire rep if he wants to avoid a butt wink. Even at 135 pounds, it doesn't matter whether this is an empty barbell or 300 pounds. The stability muscles are such that they don't really care about the weight. You just have to have them turned on in the right way with the right intention. We'll do one more for us, James, and then we'll take a side view. Nice job. You can rack that. As I was setting up the camera, we did a couple practice reps to make sure that we were in frame. And the first rep, you just kind of did it to see how it would look, and you weren't really focused on this. I want you to do another rep that way, maybe 2 reps that way, like not really focusing. And then I want you to really be intentional for the second 2 reps about how you set up, how you engage, and how much you want the bottom of that squat in the right position, okay? Let's see it. So this is James just kind of moving without thinking about it too much. This is kind of what he would default to if he wasn't intentional. Stop at the bottom for us, right there. You can see there's just a little bit of wink at the bottom. It's close, but it's not quite as healthy as we want it to be. How about one more? Stop at the bottom, back up. Everything else looks pretty good except for his lumbar spine position, okay? Now, let's set up the way we talked about before. Pelvic floor, multifidus, abs. Take your breath. Want it, James. I want you to want the bottom of this squat. I want you to fight for that neutral lumbar position. Come on back up. He was saying that he's really engaging his shoulder blades too, which is another important part of him keeping his posterior chain engaged. How about another rep? Come on back down. Want it, want it, want it. Now, if he doesn't set this up at the top, it's going to be very hard to correct at the bottom. I know you're getting tired because we've done a lot of these at the end of your workout, of course. Can you do one more where you do it wrong and then correct real time at the bottom? See if you can do it. There's a little butt wink. There's him fighting to correct it. Did you feel like you could do that at all? You can rack it.
Barely. It got better.
Did you feel like at the bottom, if you didn't get into the right position, you could correct it at all?
A bit, but it wasn't as good as when I had it from the top.
So yeah, so when you got to the bottom, especially when the weight was on there, it became very hard to bring it back around.
Yeah.
I think if it was an air squat, it's actually a good way to practice that. But as soon as there's weight on there, if you don't set that at the top, that stability, that intention, game over.
It's really difficult.
Yeah, really difficult. So thanks again, you guys. Tune back into StabilityWOD. Multifidus, as you know now, is a very important part of the core cylinder. It's not the only part, but once you get it back online, integrating it into the cylinder is important. I have some other movements I want to share in the context of engaging the core cylinder before we can move on. So I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Take a second to subscribe so you don't miss anything. Click the like button if you like what you saw today. Yeah, I'll see y'all tomorrow.
It's the hardest 135 back squat I've ever
Say that again, James. That's the hardest 135-pound back squat of your entire life?
Yeah.
Is that what you said?
For sure.
Why did that feel so hard for you? Those
just engaging
lighter back squats.
Engaging smaller muscles and smaller like stabilizers that never get engaged.
Yeah.
In the way I've been doing it previously.
You ended up in a little bit better position.
Yeah, it felt stronger, but much harder.
Much harder to do.
Maintain in the same way that the sandbag carries felt like you had to be intentional with engaging everything.
So I think the idea with that is that over time, as you start to pattern that in and it becomes more automatic, you end up pretty quickly you end up finding that you're way more efficient at doing it. It takes way less effort, and not only do your lifts get better, but the amount of energy you expend during the lifts significantly less.
Get stronger.
And that's how we get stronger. And that's a good example of how sometimes you have to bring down the weight. You have to strip back the movement to the basics, even with light weight, so that when you get back up to the heavy weight, you actually break through that plateau.